Hello there, I'm going to be doing a review today. I'm in Sainsbury's car park. I'm not doing a review here, I just thought I'd film the intro here while I'm sat in a car waiting. So today I'm going to be reviewing Oasis's third album, Be Here Now, from 1997. And yeah, I'll do the background and everything because I haven't done it in the last few videos, but I'm going to on this one because there's enough to say. So yeah, let's get into the background and everything. By the summer of 1996, Oasis were arguably the biggest band in the world. They'd had two very, very successful albums in the form of 1994's Definitely Maybe and 1995's What's the Story Morning Glory. So the summer of 1996 saw them play their biggest concerts to date, two sell-out gigs at Knebworth Park. They've since gone on to say that they could have sold out a week's worth of concerts, but unfortunately they only did two, where they did two shows to a total of 250,000 people. So by this point the band were flying high, and they decided that now would be the best time to make a third album. I suppose it was kind of a cash-in, some might say, but regardless they decided to make album number 3. So in August 1996, Noel went to the island of Mustique with his friends Johnny Depp and Kate Moss, and they stayed at Mick Jagger's mansion. So whilst they were there, Noel decided that he needed to write the third album, so he wrote most of it there, and he demoed it. Most of the songs he demoed would end up on Be Here Now. These demos can actually be heard now on the 2016 remaster, the deluxe edition of Be Here Now. And they're very good. Some have argued, including Owen Morris, that this is the best the album sounded. So yeah, they're good, check them out. So when Noel got back from Mustique on the 7th of October 1996, the band and producer Owen Morris regrouped at Abbey Road Studios to begin work on the album. So at this point Liam was under huge tabloid focus, and the band were heavy drug users at this point. So the sessions went on for a week, and Owen Morris describes the first week as being fucking awful, to quote the man. And at the end of the first week, he tried to convince Noel to abandon the sessions, but Noel refused. So the drug abuse was getting heavy, and the band weren't being very productive, and it resulted effectively in them being kicked out of Abbey Road. So they eventually regrouped on November 11th, 2 days after Liam had had a drug bust at his house where he'd been cautioned for cocaine possession, I think. And they regrouped on November 11th at Ridge Farm Studios in Surrey to continue work on the album. So whilst they were working at Ridge Farm Studios, the drug abuse was getting heavier, and tension was also starting to rise between Noel and Liam. It eventually got to the point where Noel left the sessions to let Liam record the vocals on his own, and when he got back, Noel was pretty disappointed with what Liam had produced in terms of the vocals. So Owen Morris also told Noel at this point that he felt the material was weak, but Noel just ignored him and decided that they needed to just carry on. And Owen Morris has said that after being told by Noel just to carry on, that he just started abusing drugs even more. So the band were then eventually kicked out of Ridge Farm Studios as well, and then moved on to Air Studios in London, which is of course George Martin's place. So I think it was whilst we were at Air Studios that Alan McGee visited the band, and he was shocked to find the band, and particularly Owen Morris, off their head on drugs. Alan McGee did label Morris as out of control, which did cause a bit of tension between the two, because Owen Morris did say later on that if he had been out of control, why didn't McGee, the head of Creation Records, the boss, stop it? He had the power to stop it, but he didn't. But despite all this chaos, the album was eventually finished at Air Studios in April of 1997. So the original idea for the cover was to have a photo of each member of the band at a different location all around the world, but Creation Records decided that that would be too expensive to produce. So instead, the idea was that they would take a photo of the band at Stock's house. So this was where this famous cover was taken. I believe it was a hotel at the time. It used to be the UK Playboy Mansion, until I think it was 1981 when it got shut down, or it moved. So for the cover, obviously, the most famous thing is the Rolls Royce in the swimming pool. This was put there as a tribute to Keith Moon, who, of course, famously, apparently drove into a swimming pool. Photographer Michael Spencer Johns has described the shoot for the photo as complete chaos, which is just how the album sessions were described as well. So when Alan McGee and other high-up Creation staff first heard the record, they weren't very confident in it and were a bit underwhelmed. And by July 1997, a whole month before the album came out, Noel had even lost confidence in it and had started slagging it off to the press. Nevertheless, on July 7th, 1997, Do You Know What I Mean was released as the lead single from the album. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, yeah. charts in the UK and it became the longest song to reach number 1. This was a title that had been held by the Beatles' song Hey Jude since 1968. So on the 21st of August 1997, Be Here Now was released upon the world. On its first day in the UK, it sold a staggering 424,000 copies and it became the fastest selling album of all time, which is a title that still holds to this day. By the end of 1997, it had gone on to sell a staggering 1.47 million copies in the UK, which means it was the best-selling album of 1997. Reviews of the album were initially positive, but as time passed, they started to turn negative. It probably didn't help that Noel was slagging it off, although Liam was defending it. On the 22nd of September 1997, Stand By Me was released as the second single from the album. So then on the 12th of January 1998, All Around the World was released as the third and final single from the album. So this song topped the charts in the UK and it had a total length of 9 minutes and 38 seconds. This now means it was the longest song to ever reach number 1, dethroning Oasis's previous song, Do You Know What I Mean? This is a title that is still held by All Around the World to this day. It's still the longest song to ever reach number 1, and to be honest, it'll probably never be beaten. So that's the background when I get into the review. I'll get it out first, show you, but this is not an original copy. This is the 2016 reissue, which was part of the Chasing the Sun remaster project they did. That photo's from Abbey Road, that one I'm not sure where it's from. That's all the details you get there. I won't get the records out, I think it's on the clock label, which is, that clock there is what the label is. It is a double album because it's such a long bloody album. I think it's 72 minutes long, this album. I think the shortest track, excluding the instrumental at the end, I think the shortest track is about 4.5 minutes. Yeah. Anyway, I'll go into this track by track. It opens with Do You Know What I Mean? Which I've got to say is one of their strongest opening tracks on any of their albums, I think. Yeah, it's fantastic, this song. Noel in 2016 remixed this song, and the remix is so much better than the original. I wish he'd done the rest of the album, but yeah, this first song, even without the remix, it's a pretty good song, but with it, it's just out this world. It was the lead single, and it's just a brilliant song. It sets the tone of the album, and the video as well captures Oasis at the height of their fame. My Big Mouth comes next. This one they did at Nebworth. So it must have just been a couple of weeks, if not days, after Noel had written this song, that they were doing it live at Nebworth. Yeah, it's a long song. As I'm not even going to bother saying, everything on this album's long, and it's all very overproduced. I do like this song. It's the only song they did live in the later years. They brought this one back during the Dig Out Your Soul tour, because they toured with this album. Then on the next tour, which was the Show of Giants tour, they did Stand By Me. And then after that, they just completely dropped it and forgot about it until the last tour where My Big Mouth was brought back out. But yeah, it's a nice song. Liam sings it well. Yeah, it's a good song. Magic Pie comes next. This is the third track. This is Noel's vocals on the album. I like this song. It's about 7 minutes long, but yeah. I know this song gets a lot of slack off people and a lot of hate, but I do genuinely really, really like this song. I think it is one of the best on the album. It'd be nice to see Noel do it live again someday, but I doubt he ever will. But yeah, Stand By Me comes next, which was the second single, which I've actually got a 12-inch copy of. This one is an original. On the Creation label, no doubt. I'll get this one out, actually. Oh, hang on. You get this sleeve with it, which I haven't got it in. And I won't get it out, you can see it though. There's the record. In fact, that can go back in there. So yeah, Stand By Me, this was the second single off the song, second single off the album. Yeah, it's a pretty famous song. It's probably second most famous on the album, I would say, if not the most famous. But yeah, it's a good tune. I really like it. Again, it's about 5 minutes long, but still, it's very good. I Hope I Think I Know comes next. A lot of people have been asking Liam to do this song live, but apparently he tried it recently and his voice couldn't do it anymore. It's a good one. I like this song. It's kind of underrated. Yeah, really like this one. Girl in the Dirty Shirt comes next. For ages I hated this song, and then in the last year or so it's really grown on me. And I really like it. It's a really good song. Liam sings it well, Noel's backing vocals, really good. After that we've got Fading Out. This song features Johnny Depp on the slide guitar. So I'm going to be honest here, I really am not a fan of this song. I always skip it. It's a really long song. But yeah, I just don't like it. It's a bit boring, to be honest, I find it personally. Don't Go Away comes next. If Stand By Me isn't the most famous song on the album, then this one is. This is the only real slow song on the album, if you'd call it a slow one. Yeah, it's a good song. Noel does this quite often when he does acoustic concerts. He throws this one in. But yeah, Liam sings it well. I believe it's either about Bonehead's mother or Peggy, Noel and Liam's mum. Something to do with a cancer scare or something. I believe that's what, I don't know if that's true or not, but apparently that's what that song's about, saying don't go away, don't die, effectively is what it means. Be Here Now comes next, the title track, which is the name of a George Harrison song, actually, off Living in the Material World, I think, which is where the name of this album's come from. Great song. I think when Liam did it live for most of last year as the closing track at his concerts, I think that kind of gave the song more attention again. It's a great song. It's a really good song. I think it was originally called Trip Inside on the Mustique demo, but yeah, it's a great track. It's a great rocker. All Around the World comes next, the nearly 10-minute monster, which is the oldest song on the album. This one dates back to Pre-Definitely Maybe. There is a video of them rehearsing this at the Boardwalk in, I think it's 92, I think it is. I might be wrong on the date though. It's either 92 or 93. And apparently Noel said back then that that song was for the third album. He had visioned it with huge orchestras and completely over-the-top production. Yeah, great song. Possibly my favourite on the album. Kind of just go on a bit, but yeah, it's alright. So I've also got this as well, which is a 12-inch All Around the World single. Again, I'll get it out. Hopefully I'll do a bit better job getting it back in, but I don't think this is a UK copy. I've got a funny feeling this is a German one. Keep. It says that on both sides. This B-sides on this is The Fame and Flashbacks, and if you get the CD you also get a cover of Street Fighting Man, which is a great cover. Kind of sounds a bit like the Hindu Times, more than the original Stones version, but anyway, so that's the All Around the World 12-inch single. It's Getting Better Man comes next. I'm not a big fan of this song. After All Around the World, because it goes on for so long, for 10 minutes, I've kind of, by this point, beginning to doze off from the album, lose interest because it's been going on for so long. It's not a bad song, I just don't really like it that much. It comes across as a bit of a filler, this one. And then finally is All Around the World Reprise. This is a instrumental. It's a nice instrumental, nice way of closing it. It's the shortest song on the album, it's only about 2 minutes, but it's not really a proper song, it's just an instrumental piece. But yeah, that's it. Be Here Now. Oasis at the peak of their fame. It's not one of my favourite albums, I'll be honest with you. I don't listen to it as much as some of the other albums. It's definitely not as good as the first two. And I think later on they made better albums than this, but yeah, it's decent enough. It's not a bad album. It's not as bad as Noel makes it out to be, but it's not exactly a great album either. It's just a bit middle of the road. I think the problem is it's overproduced and it's too long. If they have cut all the crap off it and shortened it a bit, it'd be a pretty solid album actually. If Noel had remixed the whole thing rather than just the first track, I think it would have been out of this world. It would have been like Let It Be Naked, a damn sight better than the original. So yeah, that's Be Here Now. Thank you very much for watching. Bye bye.